Hey, welcome back to my channel. I make weekly art tutorials, paint-alongs and vlogs, and in this video I'm going to be doing something different by doing a real-time paint with me. Those of you who've seen my art challenge will know that I created the same painting in 1 hour, 10 minutes, 1 minute and 5 minutes. But in this video I'm going to be doing it without the pressure of time constraints, with minimal talking and only editing out the bits of hesitation, but essentially showing you every stroke. The supplies that I used were the Winsor & Newton designer gouache. The colours were primary yellow, permanent yellow deep, primary blue, permanent green middle, Prussian blue and zinc white. I'll be working in my moleskin sketchbook. I used a flat paintbrush, a jar of water and some palette paper, and I'll link everything down below in the description. To start things off, I'm going to do a light, thin layer of yellow underpainting using the primary yellow. Once that's done and dry, we're going to use a slightly thicker mixture of the permanent green middle to again paint the background, but this time leaving the area where the lemon is going to be without the green paint. Now that we have the whole background or underpainting done, I start blocking out the main colours that I see, the main shadows in the background. To do that, I start mixing in the Prussian blue with the permanent green middle. If you don't have the Prussian blue because it doesn't come in the introductory set, then the alternative could be to consider adding black. A way to add interest to the painting and make it seem more organic is to use different shades of green, and this can be done by experimenting with the amount of Prussian blue that you're adding, or experimenting with the amount of permanent green that you're using, or the primary yellow that you're using as well. We're also going to layer leaves, and in order to do this with gouache, each progressive layer on top gets thicker and thicker than the layer beneath it, with decisive strokes, and also waiting for the layer underneath to dry before we do the next one. Remember that gouache dries differently to when it's laid down or when it's on the palette, so it's not uncommon, in fact it's quite normal for darker colours to become lighter and for lighter colours to become darker. So for this reason it's good to just keep looking at your painting to see if there's certain areas that you want to make lighter or you want to make darker. And we'll take a similar approach to paint the lemon. Essentially for the warmer areas or the areas in the middle of the lemon, we're going to be mixing the permanent yellow deep with the primary yellow. The areas that are brightest, i.e. the areas towards the left hand side, will primarily be using the primary yellow with mixtures of white. Get a nice shadow. We're going to do all this while it's still wet on wet so that we can blend all those three areas together. So that's the brightest bit on the left hand side, the middle area that's a bit warmer, and the shadows. And to do this, we're just going to use a clean flat brush that's just a bit moist to blend the edges out together, adding extra paint in the necessary color where needed. Once all that's dry, we can start adding the finishing touches. For me, quite often this is the highlights, but also just the little details on the leaves. And now we start adding the layers of the things that are closest to us or closest to the camera. In this instance, it's going to be the 2 leaves that are on top of the lemon. There was the option to kind of leave that area blocked out or paint it green initially, but gouache is quite forgiving, so it's okay to actually layer on top of it with a thicker layer. And the reason that I did this is just because I felt I was able to get better shapes by doing this rather than leaving it blocked out and struggling to go around the edges throughout most of the painting. And that completes our painting. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that you found it relaxing and entertaining, whether you were painting along with me or doing your own painting. If you wanted to see the speed paintings of the time challenge that I did, then check out this video. If you've made it this far, you're a real MVP and I really appreciate you. Let me know that you made it this far by telling me what your favorite fruit is down below in the comments. Thank you so much and I will see you next week. Bye!